Alrighty. Hey everyone. Welcome, welcome. So excited you can be here on our Tuesday call. I don't know if this is your first one you've ever been on, but if it is, pop in the chat that it's your first one. And you know what? Let's kick off with a picture. So if you're able to pop your video on real quick, I'm going to click it back to gallery view. And I'll admit the rest of the people. There we go. All right, we'll get a quick picture because this is something you definitely want to be showcasing on your stories and on your Facebook to just show the community that you're part of, okay? So okay, everyone turn your camera on if you can and smile. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, and if you want to take a picture, you totally can. We can do it again. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay. All right, let me click it back to... There we go. Okay, Madison, we are ready to hear what you have to share with us. So Madison, really quick little snippet. She was at 78 points in October and made some shifts and pivots and recognized some of the mindset things that were holding her back. And she's going to share with us tonight because I have a feeling that she is not the only one that has struggled with thoughts and things lurking in the back of our minds, right? I had a bunch when I started. I did not start Plexus for a business, but even just the thought of sharing with my circle, just sharing the products with people had me in all sorts of mindset things, dealing with fears. I was very fearful. But the beautiful thing is that this business is exposing, and we get to deal with a lot of the things that we're dealing with, right? We get to choose to confront those things. And so, Madison, why don't you kick us off with just a real brief explanation of your journey and some of the things that you were battling back in October or even previously? Because were you at Gold for like 5 years? I have to refresh my memory.
Okay, sorry guys. This is like real life here. I just had to chase my 4-year-old across a field in the dark because his daddy was cutting grass and couldn't see him, and he ran out there.
Madison just moved into her brand new house. And ranked up to Emerald.
Okay, I'm so sorry. Yeah, we got home from dance. I told him he could ride his little motorcycle, but not out in the field. He went out like 5 acres away. I'm pregnant. I'm like running out there. Anyways, all of the craziness. Okay. So yes, I was at Emerald, or not Emerald. Sorry. Was not at Emerald. I was at Gold for 3 years. I went Gold in which is a big deal, by the way. Gold is a big deal, after sitting there for 3 years, sometimes I forget that, like, how big of a deal gold is, but gold is a really big deal. Back then, you didn't get gold school, you didn't get the gold parties, all the things that we get now, which is super awesome to reward golds because gold is so awesome. So, I went gold in 2020, December of 2020, and I had been working like 1 foot in, 1 foot out for a little while, or well, quite some time actually, for like a whole year. And then I hit gold. I was super, super excited. My business was going up, up, up. And then I had a couple builders that decided to not work the business anymore. And so my business went back down, down, down. And I was working really hard to recruit, doing all the things. And I would get another person and it would go back up. And then I would get another and then they'd leave and it'd go back down. So by October of 2023, I was super discouraged. And can y'all please go out there? Daddy's coming in. And so back up a little bit. So it was like July or August. Angie was like, for all of us old golds who understand this, how this has worked for a really long time. And we didn't get gold school. Angie was like, hey, if you re-rank this month, I think it was August, then you will qualify for gold school in October in Austin, and I'll go with you. I have other girls going. And so if you will re-rank, then you'll get to go. And my ears were perked because, as Megan has pointed out many times, I am very, like, I am gotten by the carrots. Like, they can dangle a carrot in front of my face, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I'm gonna come get it." So, I really wanted to go to this gold school, and, so I re-ranked. He went outside, buddy. Um, I re-ranked and earned gold school. So, in October of 2023, Angie took me to gold school in Austin, which was fantastic. I highly recommend you get to gold school. It is, like, life-changing. Genevieve was there. She's amazing. And, yes, please. I'm so sorry. And it was just amazing. Great training. And so I come back all amped up, but also, like, I still have a lot of doubt in my head, because I still don't have builders. And everybody says this, so we all know what I'm talking about. I can't find anyone to work for me. I don't have any builders. No one wants to do this with me. I've asked everyone. We've all said that, those of us that were stuck. And so that's kind of where I was. And so I ended the month at 78 points, and I was super, super discouraged. Meanwhile, that whole year prior, I had been doing a lot of work on myself, my personal growth, and sorry, I'm having like discipline and focus. Um, a lot of growth, personal growth. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. A lot of personal growth. I was overcoming a lot of things that, had just been a huge part of my past. I was moving on from some stuff. And so it all kind of came full circle. And I told my husband, I was like, you know what? I don't think I can do it anymore. Like, we were laying in bed. It was at like the end of October, beginning of November. And um, I was like, I just don't think I can do it anymore. Like, I'm just spinning my wheels. No one wants to work this business with me. No one, like, I'm not getting any business builders. Like, I'm doing it. I'm do- doing it all myself.
The things that she's sharing, guys, are real. Pop a one in the comments if you have ever struggled with any of this. Let her know that she's definitely not alone.
Okay. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to lock my children out of my bedroom. Okay. So, anyways, they're just, wild, wild. So, um, okay, he's inside now. I can focus. So, I just was over it. Like, I was doing it all by myself. I had done it by myself for so long, and I was just kind of over it. And I was like, I think I'm done. But I had just joined a life coaching. Well, I had joined a life coaching in the previous. It was the same year, 2023, but earlier in the year. And he was like, "You can quit. I'll support you, whatever you want to do." But he was like, we paid for this, and you need to finish what you started. And so I was like, okay, I will finish what I started. And so I kept doing the life coaching. Um, and so I guess it was about November, I went and did a vendor event, and we had the free resets. And well, I guess let me back up just a little bit and bring in the self-doubt. I had gone to Maui with Angie a little previously, so I'm sorry for going back and forth, but I had gone to Hawaii with Angie, and I had seen all of these girls there that were my age, and they were emerald, sapphire, diamond, and I'm like, how are they emerald, sapphire, and diamond, and I am not emerald, sapphire, and diamond? Like, why? Like, what is going on? What is wrong? What's the disconnect? And, like, I was trying to figure this all out. And so my immediate thought was like, they're a lot cuter than me, they're prettier than me, they have a lot of friends. And yes, Emerald Extravaganza, the trip that emeralds are in every year. So I was like, they have a lot of friends, they're my age, like, why are they high achievers in our business and I am not? Like, I don't understand, where's the disconnect here? And so in my mind, because I've always been a very, I'm not a confident person at all. Um, I'm very hard on myself and down on myself, and yeah, just not good things. Like I always think the worst of myself. And so I'm like, it's just because I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not cute enough. I don't have enough friends. Like that's why. Like they're here and I'm not. And so I really struggled with that for a really long time. And so back to where I was in November, I had hit 78 points in October, and then in November they launched the free reset, and I had already signed up to do all these events for Christmas, and so vendor events, and so I was doing those. Plus, they had the free reset, and that month, like I ended up signing up 15 level ones. And I had one of those people come to me and actually, and this is why it's so key for you guys to get people in these reset groups and in the what's it called? The
Slim down.
Black Share Slim Down Challenge. Yeah. That's why it's so important to get people in these, because one of my girls, I don't know if she's on here, but she might be. One of my girls joined that group. They challenged her to post on her Facebook. Well, post in the group first, then post on Facebook, and she did. And that was in November. And she started adding people, and I was like, oh, I also had severe PTSD. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, this isn't gonna last long. Yeah, there she is, Sarah. She's here. I was like, oh no, she's gonna quit just like everyone else. Bye, like wallowing in my own self-pity. And so um, basically she started sharing, she started adding people, and then I got this God wink. And y'all, I'm telling you, when God reveals something to you, go with it. Because I had a friend, and she might be on here too. So if you are, Maylee, I love you. Um, but we had gone to hair school together. She'd been on the products for a couple of years. She was passing out at work because of her blood sugar dip, and she was pregnant. And so she started Plexus, like it was probably a year to a year and a half prior to this conversation. So I had messaged her and just said, hey, I know you're having great wins. Would you mind posting? And she said no. She was like, nope, not posting. I don't have enough to share. I'm not doing it. And I'm like, okay, like, okay. So I prayed for her heart because I knew how good she would be. She's so funny. She has such a good personality. Everyone loves her. Her husband's in the military. And I was just like, okay, I know Maylee is meant for this. Like, I know she's meant for this. And so I reached out again in November because I just had been praying for a really long time about it. And I just felt like God revealing to me I needed to talk to her. And so I just said, hey, I know that you told me no about posting, but would you be open to posting now? Like I know you said no before. Would you be open now? And she said yes. And I said, okay. She's like, tell me what to post. So she posted. And so I got 15. I think Sarah got 4 and Maylee got 4 that month. So we ended at like low 20s for our team. And I was like, oh, I was at 195. Like 195. We didn't even know that. When Megan and Justin asked me to talk then, we thought I ended at 178 because that's where the points ended. But when we looked the next day, they had actually ended at 195. And and so I was like beside myself. I'm like, oh, these are the highest points I've ever done. This is amazing. And so that's where I ended. And then in December, I had another builder who had quit come back and say, hey, I want this business, but like, you better not tell me what to do. I'm doing my own thing. Like, just don't. I'm like, okay, like, whatever you say, I'll do whatever you say. Like, I was so PTSD'd out from people leaving me that I was just like, okay, whatever you say, I'll do it. Just please. And so, um, yeah, she saw me earn Punta Cana, and I think that's what it was. And so, she started working on December 5th and, very quickly went fast start, or not fast start because she had been with us before, but she went senior silver very quickly. And so I, not wanting to push her, just said, "Hey, you're like really close to gold. Like, do you want to go for it?" And she was like, "Ah, okay, I'll go for it." And y'all, she went gold that month. I'm like, "Okay, okay." And so then the next month, more came, and then people came under them, and it just continued to grow. And then um, in February, it was leap year. Praise the Lord, it was leap year. Like, it was so meant to be. It was so providential. And so, my goal was Ruby. I came home from Punta Cana. My points were already at the highest they had ever been. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go Ruby. Like, we're going to do Ruby. It's going to be amazing. And so I worked so hard and I woke up and my points were at 490 and Ruby's at 500. And at first, I was just so upset because I had just known that when I woke up, they were going to be at 500 and they weren't, even though it was 490. Like, we all know you can make up 10 points, but still. And so I checked again, and about 30 minutes later, they were at 510. And I got a phone call from Ange. And I'm sorry, Megan, I'm making this so long. You know not to ask me to make a 30-minute video.
Oh,
Oh,
you're
anyway.
good. You're good.
Okay, so I got a phone call from Angie, and I knew when I saw who it was at 7 a.m., I was like, I know what she's about to do, and I am not here for it. So I did answer, and I was like, don't say it, don't say it. And she was like, we're going for Senior Ruby. And I was like, oh. And before I could agree to it, she had put it out on social media. So I was like, okay, I guess we're going for Senior Ruby. So with, the next 24 hours, my team really pulled together. They all were hitting their goals like nobody's business. And then I hit Senior Ruby. Actually ended at 760 points. And so my goal for March was 1,000 points. I was like, 1,000 points. That's all I need is 1,000 points. And I'm like, I've arrived. 1,000 point club. And so Angie was like, I should have known better. I should have known better. But she was like, 1,000 point club? No. She was like, you're going emerald. And I was like, no, I am not. Like, I am not going emerald. Don't even with me. We did this last month. Like, I'm relaxing. We're moving. I'm pregnant. Like, let me just like live my best life. Okay. We are not going emerald. And so, yeah, then her and Megan like put it out to the world again. I was like, okay, I guess I have to go emerald now. And the points just kept showing up and kept showing up. And so I was like, I'm not working on Easter. I'll if I hit it, like I hit it. If I don't, like I'm not working on Easter. But then, y'all, I was so close on that Saturday before Easter. I was like, I guess I'm working Easter. So we went to church. We had lunch with our family. The kids did their egg hunt, all of the things, and then Angie and I left. Kids went with Aaron. I went to our office and I worked until midnight. And well, I didn't. Okay, I take that back. I worked till like 11. And my points got stuck at 14.99 forever. Like it would not turn over. Aaron was like, I thought you were, and I'm like, I can't leave until it says 1,500. And so eventually it turned, and then we ended at 1546. So, and this month, praise the Lord, we are way ahead of where we were last month. So, super exciting. Last month at on the 19th, I was at 515, and today we were at 715. So, and it's the 16th. So, super excited about that. And I have like the best team. They are working so hard. I'm working so hard. We're pouring into each other constantly, loving on each other. And so it's just been really amazing and fun to watch.
Okay. All right. So let's really hone in on some of these mindset things because that's really where it's at. And so you were saying that you were in this life coaching thing where they were helping you address some of the insecurities. Is that right?
hmm
So what
Yes.
would you say for someone that's just like really on the struggle bus with that? They recognize it in themselves. So I don't know if you had realized that you were that way before the coaching or not.
hmm
Yeah, why don't you talk to that real quick?
So I knew that I had some like deep rooted things that I had to get over. And Aaron is like fully supportive of me, and like he um, knows that, um, um, like he knew that I was gonna have to overcome these obstacles. And so he was basically our first thought of how I was gonna overcome was therapy. So we looked into therapy because I was like, someone's has to be able to like help me um like get through these things. And so basically I had a lot of mental abuse growing up. And so I had a lot of brain fog, a lot of you're not good enough, you'll never be good enough, going on, and like you'll never be successful, all of these things. There's always someone, prettier than you and better than you, and so I had all these things in my mind that I really had to get over. And I had been watching this one particular life coach for a while, and our insurance was not going to cover therapy, and it was like really expensive. And so I kind of had a decision to make, like, what was I going to do? I knew I needed help from the outside, from someone that didn't know my situation. Obviously, like, sometimes that's really hard to get from a spouse or, you know, a parent or someone else. So I really knew someone was going to have to take my stuff and like flip it into something else. And one thing I do say about this business is it brings out the best parts of you, the worst parts of you. It brings out like your stuff. and um and so all of this was like coming to the surface, and this one particular life coach I decided to go with had dealt a lot with the um like mental trauma that I had dealt with growing up. And so, or she actually specialized in that trauma. So that's kind of why I chose that direction. And it was very expensive, but it was a lot cheaper than my other option. And at this point, Aaron was like, I don't care. Like, we'll figure it out, but like, we've got to get you some sort of help to overcome things so that you can succeed in life, whether that's with Plexus or not, like in life. And so that's kind of how I ended there.
Did your coach call you out when you were like verbalizing things that were self-depreciating and things like that? Or how did she help you like get over those hurdles?
Yeah. So one thing I do like to tell people is being coached is totally different. They're not going to coddle you, and they're not there to coddle you. Like they're not just going to be like, "Oh, you poor pitiful thing. Like, I'm so sorry." Like, no. Being coached is a totally different atmosphere where you just kind of have to like zip it and like listen and take in what they say, process it, and then, talk back. And it's always in front of people too, other people, And so she really, she would say, well, we use the model a lot. The Megan, you know what I'm talking about. The thoughts,
Yeah.
yeah, create your feelings, all the things.
ETFAR. For those of you
Yes.
who are new on the call, we do talk about that here.
Yes. And so I can't ever remember the acronym, but anyways, and so, it was a lot of like, these thoughts are not like they're creating your emotion. So, like, let's change your thoughts. Let's change how you feel about yourself. Like, and she would say a lot of things to me. One thing she said to me that really changed my perspective is she was like, you know what? She was like, one thing you really have working for you is that you are adorable. And she was like, you have an excellent personality. People love you. You are so cute. You're so pretty. And I was like, oh, like, no one had ever really told, I mean, obviously my husband, but, like, no one had ever really told me that before. And so just having someone I didn't even know personally tell me that really helped me, because in my mind, that's why I couldn't be a business builder, was because I wasn't cute enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I didn't have all the friends, I you know? And so she really kind of like rejected all of my thoughts, like around that, and helped me to change them. And so yeah, she didn't just say, "Oh, you poor pitiful thing, you're right." Like she was like, "Actually, no, like you're totally wrong. And this is the truth." And this, very much set me straight on that.
That's interesting that just basically you hearing someone else jar those
Mhm.
thoughts created or gave you another possibility to think about,
Yeah.
which is so interesting.
Mhm.
So what if someone on the call here tonight is battling that same or a similar insecurity? How would you encourage them to overcome? Because I mean, when we think about it, so the CTFAR model, guys, if you're not familiar with that, the basic principle is our circumstances create our thoughts, which affect our CTF, our feelings, which affect our actions and then our results. And so when we think about how if we're not taking action or we're not getting results, it's really a result of what we're thinking and what we're feeling, which is actually really significant. And it's helpful to understand that so that we can take our thoughts captive more intentionally. And I know Carissa often will say, your thoughts are not, I mean, that's an option, I guess, if you want to allow them to live rent free in your mind. But if you start to dwell on wrong thoughts, like that's going to create a lot of things that we don't want to be creating, right, guys? So, Madison, do you have any perspective for somebody that's battling like what you were battling 6 months ago?
Yes, I think that like basically the things that you think about yourself 9 times out of 10 are not true. We are our own critics, right? Like we're like our hardest critics, um and if this whole process has taught me anything, it is everything I believe to be true about myself. Pretty much none of it was true. Um, People did like me. I mean, there might be some people that do, and I don't know, but like people did like me. It wasn't that I wasn't cute enough. It wasn't that I wasn't good enough. The one thing I will say that I have taken away from this whole thing is, and Angie and I have talked about this in both of our journeys, that she had said, like, I wasn't ready to take on Sapphire, and the Lord knew that I wasn't ready. Like, it wasn't a time in my life I needed to take on Sapphire. And for me, like, a year ago, I could not have taken on the responsibility of being a Plexus Jewel. Like, it is a lot of responsibility. It is a big job with tall orders, and you have people depending on you and people counting on you. And I mentally was not at a place where I could handle that. And so, my biggest thing I have taken away from this whole experience is that the Lord has a time for everyone. And just because it's not happening right now for you, just means that He's preparing you for a better time than now. And so, as for the thoughts in your head, the negative thoughts about ourselves, most of the time, like whatever we're thinking is created by us. And that's creating our feelings around the whole situation. And so, me thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, literally was bringing down the rest of my business because people pick up on that. Like, when you're not confident in yourself, like, you're not confident in anything else. And why in the world would people want to buy what you're selling if you're not even confident in it yourself? And so that was probably my biggest takeaway. And also, like, when you can let go of your own stuff, then, like, your marriage will get better. Your relationships will get better. Your children will be happier. Your business will thrive. You'll be able to help people in a way you've never been able to help people before that you couldn't have done previously. Sorry, they're
Yeah.
screaming.
Oh dear. Well, yeah, I agree with that because the personal growth piece is not just going to impact our businesses. It actually is going to make us better wives, better moms, better siblings, sisters, better friends with our friends, right? And
Mhm.
I just want to speak to the comparison thing because I think that there can be healthy comparison and there can also be unhealthy comparison, where the
Yes.
unhealthy comparison is basically where we're chasing an ideal, maybe even something that we have in our own mind, or we're
Mhm.
saying other people have what we want and then making that mean something about our lack. But it's interesting because you can compare in a good way, in
Mhm.
a healthy way, if it's rooted in questions like, huh, that's so interesting. I wonder what they're doing or saying that's different than what I'm doing. Now,
Yeah.
I think you can evaluate that and not be self-depreciating and get in a
Mhm.
spiral. I think it's
Yeah.
interesting to me that I've seen even pre-Plexus, someone had said to me, oh my, they were so like not overwhelmed. They were almost like weirdly jealous and discouraged by someone else's like innovation and creativity and success as a wife and mom. And I was like, I guess I always just felt really inspired and like, oh, that's really cool. And
Yeah.
how two people can perceive very different things from somebody's, success or whatever. And so I think that it's good to ask ourselves questions, but also to ask them in a way where it's going to promote growth for us, like to help us
Mhm.
take further action instead of inaction, which is maybe the gauge of whether we're comparing in a healthy way or in an unhealthy way.
Yeah. And what is it they say? Comparison's the killer. Is it comparison's the killer of joy? Is that what they say?
Yeah,
And it's true, but also exactly to what you're saying. Like it never once hit me to compare myself to them in the way of like, okay, what I'm doing is not working, what they're doing is working. So what's the difference here? Like that never once ever struck me. Like it was just, oh, that's it. Like I'm not as good as they are, you know? And so I think that's a really important distinction to make is like it's okay to say, okay, what I'm doing is not working, what they're doing is working. So let me figure out what they're doing to see if it works for me. And what works for them might not work for me. What works for me might not work for them. You never know. And so also people live in different parts of the country. That plays a huge role in it all. I've noticed throughout my journey meeting different, rubies, singer rubies, emeralds, sapphires, diamonds, like they live in different parts of the country. Like what works for me might not work for my friend in California. You know what I'm saying?
hmm
And so that's another aspect of it that I would have never thought of, but I've really learned throughout this whole process.
that's so interesting. Um,
Hmm.
Melody is saying that the comments are really good. It says, I think another aspect of the conversation around comparison is what is your definition of success? Does
Yes.
it have to be just like so and so, or is it to do what God has for me? Two very different things. And I think it kind of speaks to what we're learning about in this 10x book,
Mhm.
which there's a book study coming up that you can qualify for to be in Jessica Heffley's, but he talks about your unique ability where you're being uniquely you, because only you can build and create the team and culture that you're meant to build and create, and everyone's going to have a little slightly different team culture, instead of trying to be a copycat or trying to duplicate exactly, what someone else is doing. Maybe we should talk a little bit about some of the chime-ins that we got on the Facebook post. I thought those were really good because I think the the thing to remember is all of us at some level are going to have some sort of fear. If you've never done network marketing before, if you've never built a Plexus team, like in anything new, there's a level of skills to be developed and fears to overcome. That's just like point blank. And it's interesting to me how sometimes we get in our heads that like we're the only ones that struggle.
Mhm.
Newsflash, that's not true. If I could just tell you guys all of the fears that I had when I started, I mean, it was a mountain of things. It was like different things every day. And I just had to start chipping away at those, but also offering my brain something else. Because my biggest fear was like, oh my word, are people going to think I'm just trying to sell them something? Which I was selling them something. I don't know why I had such a goofy perspective on that. I have entrepreneurship in my bones, but I just had that lurking fear on one side of my brain. And then on the other hand, I was also offering myself the perspective of like, but I'm going to be so excited when they come back and thank me for sharing with them. Like, won't that be so exciting? And so it was interesting. Like, while I had that inkling in the back of my mind, I also had this other thought that I just felt like gave me more fuel. And so that's what I was choosing to operate from most days. Sometimes it did spiral into the other thinking. But one of the questions, let's see. One of the questions was, why can't I find business builders to match my passion and energy? That was one of the thoughts that someone was dealing with. I don't know if I should just read a couple of these off, and then we can kind of pick which one we're going to talk about. Another one was, can I fit this into my life, assuming like busy life in addition to everything else? What if I run out of people to talk to? Um, Someone else was concerned about the money part. Like who is willing to dish out the money for this? Which to that I would say actually you need to go evaluate your mindset on cost
Mhm.
and worth and just build your belief in light of what we have. And YouTube is really great for this. Anytime that I had something that I struggled with, I would type Plexus and such, whether it was follow up or closing or cost objections. And Amber Miller has a really good one because she actually she actually asked the question, like, do you think it's too expensive? And it's interesting that because that was not really an issue for me because I was working with a naturopath before I started Plexus. And so using Plexus products was way less expensive than the naturopath supplements and her diagnostics. And I knew like I could get at least 20 people on the products, which would more than pay for our own family supplements, which was like a huge like win and very exciting to me. But because I really had prioritized supplements over the years, and the thought of being able to get them covered was really encouraging to me. Um, okay, so and do any of those strike your fancy, Madison, to talk about?
One of the things, the one that caught my eye today, and I want to speak to this one because it's the one I hear the most. And it is, what if I run out of people to talk to? Y'all, there are 300 million people in the United States. And I can guarantee you probably 90% of them are on Facebook. Like, there is no shortage of people at all. And I would like to speak to this because that was my mindset when I started. I don't think I've even shared this with Angie before, actually. And not very many people know this. I had been on the products for 2 years, and Angie at this point was a jewel. And um, I was a hairstylist pre babies. And then I decided to stay home, which was not an easy choice because we like had zilch money, like none. And so it was one of those things where you like figure out the how later. Like, you know, the why now, you'll figure out the how later. And so we couldn't afford my products, definitely. And so I was like, but I can't work this business. Angie's a jewel. And Aaron and I have been together since we were 16. We know all the same people. Like, we have grown up together. We know all the same people. And so I was just like, there's no way. Like, I can do it too. And so I looked into other network marketing companies. I looked into one which I love. They have hair care and it's phenomenal. Love their hair care. Their comp plan was garbage. I was like, it was like you had to add, like, you had to have like multiple levels deep before you even made $300. And I was like, what? There is no way. No way. No. So I was like, okay, back to the drawing board. I guess Plexus it is. And so, but I always had this thought in my mind, like, I'm never like, she knows everybody. She's got everybody. Y'all, we live in the same area and we are both jewels. Like, there is no shortage of people. Like, let me just tell you, it is such a thought error that there's too many people, or too many people know about this, or too many. And you know what? There's people that did it a long time ago that quit, their sponsor quit, whatever. And they come back around and they're like, oh, shoot, who do I go to now? You. They go to you. So the thought that you're gonna run out of people, or it's too saturated, or everybody in my town does it, or whatever, is total like head trash that's not even accurate at all. So add people on Facebook, get into groups. I have a girl that's been on the products faithfully for 2 years that I met on Peloton Moms group. No joke. She loves the products. She's in remission from lupus for the first time in her life. And she's like, found the ticket. She texts me. She asked me about my baby doctor's appointments. Like, get in the groups because that is where you're going to find your faithful, loyal people.
Yeah. Well, and I think hearing you share that you expanded your network, and that's the thing, like everyone's we like it, your mother-in-law, like you guys' circles overlap some, but not
Mhm.
completely. And even
Mhm.
people here that have mentioned that to me in my town, I'm like, go look at our mutual friends and then go look at all the friends outside of our mutual friends. That's your network to
Mm-hmm.
just and so yeah, I mean, expanding your network is really crucial. And can you just share really quick, like where your business builders popped up from? Like, were they all people that you knew before you started Plexus?
So I'm trying, let me think off the top of my head. Um, a majority of them were people I knew, but they didn't take Plexus. Like that's not how I met them. One person though, and I'm pretty sure she's here. I love to tell this story because I had no idea who the heck she was when she messaged me and said, "Hey, I think I want to join. I've been watching you for 6 months, never had liked, never had commented, like nothing." And she's like, "Hey, I think I wanna, like, start with you. I've taken them before. I didn't have success. I think that you're gonna keep me consistent, and I think that you're my answer. I'm gonna do this with you." And I was like, "Okay." She, added her husband, did not upgrade, which I was heartbroken, but I didn't tell her that. And I was like, "Oh," you know? And so it just wasn't her time. She upgraded in the end of January. In February, she went fast start silver, senior silver, gold. March, Fast Start Senior Gold, and now she's on her way to Fast Start Ruby. Like, I had no idea who she was. I knew she was from a surrounding town of mine. We had mutual friends, which come to find out, I had done a Norwex party under her before. And so that's how we had the connection. But like, they weren't people that I hung out with. One was, from hair school that she was pretty far behind me in hair school, so we didn't know each other super well. And then another I met at a dance studio. So it's just really random. Like you just don't know. And the craziest part of it to me is that the Lord knew I needed these people in my life. And I tell this one that I didn't know her all the time. I'm like, God really knew that I needed you before I knew I needed you, because she's very uplifting and she's always cheering us all, our whole team. It's magical. And I'm like, we all needed you and we didn't even know it. And so it's just amazing who you'll meet, the community you'll create. Like I sat with two of my builders tonight at dance at the studio, and we just talked about business, and it was like fantastic. It was so good. So,
That's so fun. Yeah.
mhm,
Well, and this is kind of going back to like the shifts you made in yourself as a person, but I saw
mhm,
you like really, I don't even know what the word is. Like your posts started to have spark. And
mhm,
it's so interesting how who you are on social media is reflective of the
mhm,
energy and the I don't know, the spirit. There's a spirit behind Facebook posts and Facebook messages. And so you figuring that stuff out with you as a person totally impacted how you showed up on social media then. And
mhm,
then I think probably more than you realize that fed into some of these people that where you caught their eye and then all of a sudden
mhm,
it's like, hey, I'm ready to do this with you.
mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's so interesting too.
I really tried to start, like, I've never been like great at writing things. So I had found this really cute little group of on Facebook that does like posts, and I would just find theirs that felt like something I would say, and then I would like tweak it to make it something I would say, and then I would post it because I another thought error I had is I can't write anything good. Like I'm not smart enough for that. Like I can't write things to catch people's eye. And so when Megan started telling me that, I was like, okay, so I guess my posts are good enough. Um, and so yeah, that like shifted a lot. And then I started writing my own posts instead of just copying and pasting them all. Um, and so yeah, it's just you have to make it sound like you. And when you go from being a very beat down person to a very confident person, it changes your whole world.
hmm Well, and those wins build your confidence also as things start to
Mhm.
shift. So it's like this snowball effect in a positive way.
Yeah.
Well, since we have a captive audience, and maybe you guys have some questions for Madison, or you want to, pop in the chat, or if you have a thought that you keep dealing with, Shout it out real quick. You can either quick unmute or pop it in the chat and we can address it real quick. Because we have some people here that have dealt with stuff, dealt with the junk. So we don't want people just, spiraling and not being able to take action because of thoughts that they're thinking. Is anyone dealing with something right now that you want to bring up or ask about? I did see that someone said that she was totally resonating with you. Let me see where it says that. Oh, she said, it's like you're reading my mind. What have you done to develop fast start goals and senior goals in rubies? Ooh, that's a great question.
Well, the biggest thing is that, like, I've been really trying to give my girls vision and, like, pump into them that they can do it. Like, you can literally do anything with this business. You can, I mean, if you want to just get a person here and there and just like what, or if you want to run full on with it, like you can go to convention and be a jewel, And so that's what I've really like pumped into my girls is like the belief, like, you know, other than that, like they've really just caught the vision. Like and they I don't even know how to describe it. Like we have literally created we go out to eat together. Like we go to dinner together. Like I said tonight, like we just, the three of us just sat at dance and chatted. And like we have become friends. Like these girls are my friends and I confide in them. They confide in me. Like we've just worked really hard to build a really strong like camaraderie. And, and so that, along with really just telling them how much I believe and how much I know they can do it, has like changed everything. And the biggest factor is I stopped focusing on myself and how I'm going to get there. And I started focusing on how am I going to get them there. And so a lot of times in this business, and I don't mean this negatively, but we can get very self-focused. Like me, me, me. I want to be diamond. I want to be jewel. I want to be emerald. I. And at the end of the day, we forget like this isn't about us. It's a business about helping other people, whether it's financially or their health, spiritually, believe it or not. Like people have been drawn to our company because they're like, I see like y'all are believers and like I want to be a part of what you are too. And so showing people that, like that's really got them rising up and climbing through the ranks and really just like I don't want to say pushing them, but also not giving up on them. You know what I'm saying? Like not just like, okay, like on for instance, on Easter, I didn't just say, "All right, like it's Easter, see y'all," I was like, "All right, girls, it's like y'all got goals too. Let's get to your goals. Like let's get them today. What are they? Come on." And like just like pulling it out of them, dragging it out of them, what they want, their hopes, their dreams, their whys, and really saying like, "You have a really strong why. We're going to figure out the how, but it's going to happen." So that's really how we've and breaking it down like, being like, "Okay, if you wanna be gold, great. Like, we're gonna help 4 people, get 4 people, or help this many people, get this many" like, just making it easier for them to, like, understand. Because when you come into this business, it's, like, really like, "Whoa, like, what am I doing?" And so if you can break it down instead of just being like, "Oh, 100 points," then, like, it seems easier, and then they just go, you know?
Yeah, and I think that the fact that you had people that were coming in for a business, like
Mhm.
they knew that they wanted to do something more than just like you said, help someone
Yeah.
here and there. And I think that that is a different energy and that's a different space than, maybe a VIP customer that just wants to grab a buddy,
Yeah.
So the conversation shifts and the energy also shifts and that momentum starts to build. And as more and more people start to see business success, that builds belief and encouragement in other people because they're like, oh my word, if
Mhm.
she can do it, I can do it. And and then you're in there saying, well, I believe in you and you can totally do this and let's break it down, so that the steps are simple and it's not just about massive recruitment, but you're getting
Yeah.
development on your team by encouraging people. Like, you get your 4 people, and then you go talk to 4 people about the business and help
Yeah.
them get 4 people. And I think that's where the conversation has to shift on the front end of things, because if we're only pulling in VIP customers, it's a whole lot harder to develop with those people. Not impossible, because I was a product user. I came in for products, not a business. But we have to be having those business conversations and making those business posts, because that's what's going to build a business.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
There was another one that was really good. I was just reading. My recurring struggle is expanding my network, finding people who are open to conversation, connection, friendship, etc. I've literally asked my hubby if I'm weird and why people don't like me. I love that because that's exactly how I felt. I was like, I have no friends. I had no one. And I just told a builder this the other day. I'm like, she's like, I have no friends. I'm like, who cares? Like, my friends don't work this business. I don't have very many, but the ones I have, they don't work the business. So like, and they look at me like I got 4 eyes, but you know what? They support me. So like, whatever. Um, but expanding your network doesn't mean going on groups and finding people that have problems and cold messaging them about their problems. Do I do that? Yeah, sometimes. Does it work? Pretty much never. But a lot of times I'll just go and I find like minded people in groups and I won't even say a word to them and I'll just add them on Facebook. Just add them because I know they're like minded. I I know that like we have things in common because I'm kind of a stalker and I'm like looking at their Facebook. I'm like, oh yeah, she's just like me. And so a lot of times I find people that way. Not to be creepy. That might sound creepy. I don't know. But try to find like-minded individuals in those groups. And that's what I found in my girl Brittany. Like she is like-minded. She had a really bad problem and she was very sick with lupus and she was like, I'm a last ditch effort here. Can you help me? And I was like, I think I can. Yeah. So, like, you'll find people that way, like, you don't have to, like, make it weird, as Genevieve says. Like, just add them, and, like, who kno they might not even accept it, and they might be your next rock star, or they might watch you for 3 years, like, you never know.
Yeah, I think that it takes time. The building your network thing takes consistency and time. And I was listening to Sally Lewis's team call. We can share that, guys, because Marissa's second half was phenomenal. But she gave an idea about expanding network, because it was like the fifth of the month or something, and she had already earned that walking pad, which all of you need to go just decide that you're earning that. Okay. Just decide that you're earning it and go earn it. But she said the way she has done that is by networking on social media. She's like, newsflash, we're social sellers. So it's not weird to go, you know how you have those little pop-up ads on Facebook of like cute dresses or kids clothing lines or this or that. Go in the comments of those. That's how Brittany Howard got one of her builders, because I don't remember what she was. Oh, maybe it was a Dave Ramsey chat thread, or I don't even know. It was like someone that something that she totally tracked with. And so she was in the comments there friending people. And so Marissa said, she's like, oh yeah, I'm adding 2 or 3 people every single day. And she's like, unfriend some of your Plexus people. She's like, the problem is it's the same people seeing your stuff that you're posting. And I think that's probably more of our issues, is that we're just all, posting to each other and not actually to the circle outside of our Plexus friends. Or our church community or family. And so I would definitely encourage you guys to be expanding your network every single day with that, because that's really huge. And then real quick before we go, oh, thank you, Carissa, for popping that in there. Rose is saying that her struggle is to get her builders inspired to show up consistently, and knowing the balance of not pushing, but being inspired and excited. It feels like I want it more than they do.
Can I say something about that?
Yep, please do.
I read that and I was like, okay, I have to share this. Um, I had someone that came in as a builder. I saw it for her. She needed it desperately, like, and she still does, like, desperately needs it. And she had great results. She seemingly wanted the business, very like interested. I drugged this girl for 3 years. I got her silver 3 times. 3 times. And but, like, at the end of the day, I wanted it more for her than she wanted it for herself. And if you're dragging them along because you want it, but they don't, you're wasting your time and you're wasting their time because there is someone out there that does want it as much as you're gonna want it for them. And I hate to say wasting your time, but you are. You're wasting your time because they don't want it, and until they see it, there is nothing you can do for them. You can show it to them until they're blue in the face, and maybe one day it'll click, but it doesn't always. And for this person, it didn't. And I cried over it. I was heartbroken because I knew how much she needed it. She needed the community, she needed the money, she needed like just everything. And I was heartbroken, but what I realized is that I was dragging her along and she was never going to do it. And that's been one of the hardest people I had to let go. Like, I had to let it go because I knew her potential, but she didn't want it. And so she didn't want to do the hard things. And if they don't want to do the hard things, then you can't make them. And they're not going to, you know, be successful at the business because they're not willing to do the things. And so I had to let her go. And it was really hard. And I still message her when we have a sale and tell her because I still have a spot in my heart and I feel like the Lord is not closing it off yet. And so, but I don't drag her along anymore.
Mhm. I think sometimes some of us get stuck in that where we're basically our whole focus is on our current team. It's almost like we're mentally stuck there because
Mhm.
so wanting it for people on our team. And
Mhm.
I'm not saying don't stop wanting it for people, but sometimes you have to just put them on the shelf. Not and when they hop off the shelf and tell you, "Hey, I'm ready to do this now." But that gives you mental capacity to like go find new people, go take more action, go do the things that you know you need to be doing, not waiting on these people and getting frustrated by their lack of enthusiasm to go do the things. So, oh man, this was so good. Thank you, Madison, for popping on with us. I know this is getting a little
Yeah.
long. We all need to go put our babies to bed. So we're going to wrap it up. I want to just challenge you guys to go earn the walking pad. Okay. Also, you can earn that by developing a silver. And if you have never developed a silver or you feel like that is a weak spot for you, go practice this month by getting in conversations. And also, go get registered for convention. Don't forget that Gold School. There's an option for Gold School coming up May 5th. Is it the 5th or the 4th? So first weekend in May. So go get registered. It's the 4th. Go get registered for that if you are able to go to Pennsylvania because it is so good to get plugged into training. It is a write-off. You will want to be pouring money back into your business, not paying Uncle Sam at the end of the year. And the quicker you can get the goodness, the quicker you can take action from a healthy place. So, guys, I'm so thankful you could pop on. Madison, thank you for sharing with us. This was so fun. I feel like everyone was resonating with you for sure and hit some good spots. So, okay, well, we'll see you on next week, or see all of you on next week. Jessica Heffley is going to be our guest speaker, so do not miss that call. It's going to be amazing. All right.
Actually,
yeah.
isn't Jessica leading the last week of the month?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm ahead of myself. So you're next week, and she's on the 30th.
Yeah.
Hey, Meg, can I drop a plug really quick?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone would want to, but on my team call Thursday night, well, I don't know who wouldn't want to, but I'm popping this in here. I'm having Kinley Severns on my call as a guest. So if anyone wants to pop in and listen, anyone's more than welcome.
Oh, perfect. Okay, can you shoot me the link for that and I'll share it with everybody? Yeah, Kinley lives locally to me and she just went diamond. So, all right. Okay, keep up the great work, everybody. See you all.